Hi, everyone who's already joined. We'll be getting started in just a minute.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. All right, so people are joining in, which is great. There's a couple things that I wanted to mention at the start of this webinar. First and foremost, we are live streaming this particular webinar for the first time on Facebook. For those of you who attend the webinars regularly, you may have had a couple issues last week about not being able to be allowed in. So in order to make sure that this never happens again, we decided to start live streaming our webinars. So please stay here if you're already here, but in the future, if you have any other technical issues, just head over to our Facebook page and you will be able to see our webinars there as well. That's first thing. Second thing, anyone here who is already a credentialed coach and needs to claim their CCEUs for this webinar, we've changed the process a tiny bit. After this webinar, everyone's going to get an email, tomorrow that is, with instructions on how to claim your CCEUs. But if you want to get ahead of the game, you can go to this website, coacharya.thinkific.com, and select the title of this webinar, which is Effective Strategies for Coaching Millennials. And you will be presented with a quiz, which will ask you for a password that we will share later in this session. So if this is confusing to anyone who just joined, that's okay. We will send you instructions for how to claim CCEUs after this webinar, and we will share the password during the webinar and at the end of it. That's all the administrative announcements. I will now hand it over to Dr. Paras, who is our moderator for today. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Magda, once again. And good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everybody who are here and in different countries. My name is Paras, and I would be, with my panelists, team of panelists, I would be sharing the thoughts on effective strategies for coaching millennials. So before I could start with that, I would love to introduce you to my panel. And before I introduce you to my panel, I want to ask some questions that have been coming to my mind. A millennial in my head and a millennial that I interact with others. Am I a category? Do I work differently? Am I different than you? Who am I? Can I be coached? Lots of these questions I bring in today to you as a millennial and non-millennial who are listening and watching me, and the panelists. So these questions to ponder and share your thoughts at any point of time. So let's start. Let me start by introducing you to my panelists. So Sneha, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Sneha Ratnani, and I'm a millennial coach, and I'm a millennial myself as well. And also I'm an HR professional at a media organization. And I'm really delighted to be a part of this discussion today.
Thank you. Thank you, Sneha. Yes, Mudit, would you like to?
Yes, thanks, Paras. My name is Mudit Yadav. I'm from India. I started coaching at the age of 23. I am a leadership success coach, and I've spoken to more than 212,000 people from 48 countries. And I'm looking forward to participate in this discussion. Back to you, Paras.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mudit. Once again, Shalaka, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Shalaka Tambe. I'm a corporate coach and a trainer who is passionate about working with the young generation. I regularly interact with the millennials through my coaching and training programs. Also, for past couple of years, I've been doing research about getting an understanding about this generation's values, their preferences, that the insights would give a better understanding about this generation for the non-millennials. So yes, that's about it. I'm looking forward to this wonderful discussion.
Wonderful. Thanks, Shalaka, once again. Padma, would you like to go next?
Hi everyone, this is Padma here. I'm an HR professional working with an engineering services organization. We recruit a lot of millennials and we deal with them day to day. So being a coach, this will be a useful webinar where I look forward to all the participation that is going to go around. Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Padma. Malai, would you like to share yourself?
Hi, everyone. This is Malay here. I'm training to be a PCC, and with my profession right now, I'm a management team of an IT company. Um, and I will share my experiences working with millennials. I have two college-going kids, so that's personal experience, and more than half of my team is millennials. So, I'll be sharing those experiences with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. MG, would you like to share yourself?
Okay. First of all, I am a father of a millennial daughter and father-in-law of a millennial too. Okay. So it's been interesting trying to even sometime get an opportunity to coach them. Basically, I'm a leadership coach and a corporate trainer. I was a corporate player for 37 years, metamorphosized into a coach, and I love every opportunity to interact and coach millennials as a part of my job. I look forward to an exciting discussion today.
Thank you, MG. Well, I'm Paras, and I'm an associate trainer with Coacharya, and as well as I'm into life leadership coaching. And I've been really excited to share my experience and my interaction with different generations, and wanting to learn from everybody out here, as well as people who are watching us and listening to us. We'll be happy to learn from you as well. What I would like to go next is to just share the importance of this session. The first point that came to me was about to increase the frame of reference that we hold about millennials today. The other thing that came to my mind was to being sensitive, handling humans over the word millennial. And the third aspect that I want to bring it in today's session is flexibility and acceptance while dealing with different kinds of people, not necessarily it's millennial. And yes, generation is evolving and transcending with higher level of awareness and thinking, decision making, and also creating strategy, and how technology has been playing a very fundamental role in this evolution. And the last and important aspect that I want to share with you is every generation is an inspiration to the next. So this was some of the important aspects that we as panelists decided and shared much before coming to the session. So these are the areas that I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. Now I want to bring out some psychological safety and defining the boundaries of our session today. So one of the psychological safety that I want to bring it to this panel, as well as people outside, is no generation is weak or strong. All shared in this discussion, or all the information that you share or the panelist members would share or you ask, is all coming from our learnings, research, observations, and inferences of life. And they're not to be considered as the learning of life. Another psychological safety that I want to bring it up is bigger group, which is listening, feel free to ask as many questions to clarify, verify information. And at any point of time, if you have any questions to any member or any panelist, please feel free to talk to us. And from the panelists, please raise your hands whenever you wish to participate at any point of time. So this is what the psychological safety that I wish to bring it. If anybody from the panelists would like to add up, please let me know right away if I've missed out anything. Okay, thank you. So before we go on to the next aspect about how do we coach millennials, let me also bring out to you the 5 common presuppositions that we as a panelist believe in. The first is every generation is unique. Parenting process has evolved over time. Third is it's a generation with higher awareness. The fourth is collaboration and communication are the key to any generation. And yes, technology has played a very vital role. So, so to every member out here who is on the panel, I want to ask you, what does millennial mean to you today?
I think a perspective is, and a unique one at that, something that I observed is people who got access to internet and social media somewhere in their teenagers or formative years. I think they're millennials. So while we were growing up, I myself saw a part where we did not have access to the internet, and while I was in my high school, I then had access to the internet, and I switched from my encyclopedias to Wikipedia. So I think that could be one way to look at millennials.
Oh, that's nice. Anybody else? Shalaka? I can't hear you, Shalaka. You're on mute. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So what does the term millennials mean to us today? For me, I look at it in two parts. First, the term millennial itself, and then this generation. So millennials for me is just a term. It's a reference to the people, to the individuals who were born around the millennia. Now, that's it. That's the only reference with the term millennials. But when it comes to the generation, I think it is the generation which was born and brought up during the era of change and transformation, be it social transformation, environmental change, be it digital transformation. This was the generation which was brought in this era, and no other previous generation was brought up in such a transformative environment. So that, I think, is really something unique with this generation. But having said that, I also think they're just like everybody else. We are humans at the fundamental level. Our aspirations, our value systems, our preferences might change, but the fundamental needs are always the same for any generation. And that is why it is important to understand that it is only the way in which they express is different. The expression has changed, the approach has changed, but and at the root level, we are all just humans. That's what we need to keep in mind. That's how I look at them.
Thanks, Shalaka. Yes, MG.
Just adding to what Budit and Shalaka said, I think it's not about when they were born, whether after 80 or 84, but millennial is the way of life. Way of life where technology, internet, devices were not something new. It did not happen to them. They grew with them. Whereas for all of us, we have transitioned from a previous era into a millennial era. So my mother is 84. She is very savvy with iPad and WhatsApp and Facebook. She has adopted a millennial way of life. That's how I would sum millennial.
Yes.
Thanks, MG. Yes, Neha.
So to add on to what MG said, definitely the word technology comes to my mind when I think about millennials. I believe also they have easy and quick access to everything, be it information, be it entertainment. This has made them habituated to instant gratification, I feel, which further affects their level of patience as well. So to add more to this, the increased need for instant gratification, along with the increased options and high visibility to other success, have made them seek success, contribution, and personal growth at a more rapid rate than any other generation, you can say.
Thank you, Sneha. Yes, Malay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Malay.
Hi. So, when I look at the word millennial, I think what Shalaka defined is the time somebody coined the word. During that time period, people got born and they were labeled it. My personal view is that every next generation behaves in a millennial way. So I feel I was a millennial in 90s, maybe late 80s, because I was different at that point of time. I was maybe people older generation to me were maybe thinking, this guy is different. He thinks differently. He does things differently, and he asks things differently. The similar thing is happening now. The people change. And millennials are not just one age group, right? It's a band, maybe, you know, from 20 to 40 or whatever, right? And even in that group, people will feel that they're different, right? It's just that change happens every time something advances and things change, right? And then we feel that people are different. And same time, I also feel that every generation passes something to the next generation, which makes them different, right? So in my generation, I might have passed something to my kids, which I thought was not done correctly to me, and so I feel they're different. But I believe it's all same. It's a way of life. It's where you adopt things and then you just move on.
Thank you. Thank you, Malay. So before I could go to Padma, I would like to also ask to all the people who are listening to us is, what's the one keyword that comes to you, or one statement that comes to you as when you hear the word millennials today? So if you're listening to us, maybe just put up your thoughts there, and would love to hear you. Yeah, Padma, yes.
Yeah, thanks, Paris. So according to me, the millennials, as rightly said by the other panelists, like it's a term that is coming up because of the technology that is advanced. And as told by Sneha as well, it's the instant gratification that I see, even at workplace. They come across as smart, confident people, and for them, the primary motivation is not the money, like at the job front when I see them. It's more of they follow the passion. Like they know how to explore, where to explore to get their way through. And other thing is they don't just take things like they if some beliefs are there, they question it, why certain things are the way it is. So they look out for the answers, and that's how they feel like the generation is, they want all a proof of validation why it is certain the way it is. So they seem to be very confident and vocal about things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Padma. And as I'm reading the chats, I see so interesting thoughts, right? From being spoiled with a high level of awareness, young, freedom, and unique, agile. I also loved impatient. Okay, we're going to talk about that as well very shortly. Rebels. I think it's very interesting that I'm listening and learning about different definitions and different frames of references people are holding. Just so what comes to my mind was a little interesting spot that was keywords that came to my mind when I was thinking about millennials. It's spontaneous, being sharp, being passionate, being open, curious, freedom, self-esteem. There are several words that came to my mind. But one metaphor that I would like to share with you is, if I look at from a chicken egg, I'm going to get a chicken. I'm not going to get a duck. So this generation is not a separate generation or separate identity. This generation is coming, it's evolving from the previous generation with better learning style, better knowledge style, better way of life. So for me, it's a generation which is coming from different generations and it's evolving. That's something that came to my mind. And I also hear, okay, very other interesting points here is new generation, every generation has its own next millennial. Yeah, true, I agree with you. Also, Pradeep Natarajan said that millennial is free souls growing up with open, unimpeded access to information. Absolutely. So as we are hearing all this about millennials, my question to everybody out here is, or maybe a few of them can look at, and even people who are listening to us, please share your thoughts. What has changed today as compared to past then? What has really changed? Shalaka, you've been doing a research about millennials. I would like to start first with you. What have you observed about the change that we're looking at, we have been witnessing about generations?
Yeah, so what has changed today as compared to the past? Now, there are quite a few aspects which have changed, as you were rightly pointing out. The parenting styles have evolved over the period. The environment in which this generation has been brought up was significantly different with the previous generations. And as the other panelists have said, every generation brings with its new thinking, its new way of looking at life, and which is influenced by the major life events that they witness together, the culture that they go through together. So with respect to what has changed, it is more to do with the transformation that has happened, the awareness level that has been increased with this generation. The parenting style was such that for millennials, their parents were their first role models, their perceived guides, their cheerleaders. Similarly, in their education system, their teachers were their mentors, their perceived guides. Throughout, their professors were their mentors and teachers. So for the millennials, any authority figure is a natural coach, a natural mentor. They expect the authority figures to be coaches and mentors in their life because that's the natural environment that they have experienced. And this also reflects in the corporate world, where they look at their managers, where they look at their bosses, their seniors in terms of displaying or playing the role of a coach and a mentor. So this has been a fundamental shift from the previous generations, where I'm a Gen X, and for me, a teacher was a teacher. For me, my parents were my parents. We were being told to do certain things and we did. So it was more of doing and telling. But with this generation, it is more of inspiring and enabling. So they don't want to be told, they want to be inspired and enabled. And this is where they have a lot of expectations from their seniors. And this is where coaching fits in perfectly, because that gives them a space where they can be inspired, where they can really get enabled and achieve whatever they want to achieve. So this is fundamentally the change that I've observed through my interactions with the millennials. This is what they expect from the authority figures. This is a fundamental change that I've really understood from their perspective.
Fantastic.
Adding to the 2 points that Shalaka mentioned, I think what's really changed, Paras, is the turnaround time. I think the generations before us were used to waiting for every action that they took. So if it was a post that they had to send, they had to wait for a reply for a month. If it was a TV serial that they were watching, they had to wait maybe when it features on TV after a week. But today, if I send a WhatsApp message, I see a blue tick, I want to reply immediately. The whole series is uploaded on Netflix. I don't want to wait for this episode. I want it right now. So I think that reduction in turnaround time has really made millennials, one, impatient, two, also aggressive in whatever they want to achieve. So whether it is feedback or growth or impact, we don't want to wait. We just want to keep moving. And that's something that's changed.
Thank you. So Mudit, what I'm learning is that this generation, the dark side, or when I look at the shadows of the millennials, is I hear the word impatience as well as aggression. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to go to MG because MG and I, we were talking last week, and he spoke about having some interaction with people in the West and different colleges, and also people in Bangalore. So MG, would you like to share about what do you see about the darker, the shadow side of the millennials?
Yeah. So I am coaching certain corporates who have just about everybody in the millennial age group for the workforce, okay, even the leaders. So I was curious to see how the millennials behave in the West. And the last 2 years I've been for 5-6 times to the US, thanks to my daughter delivering a grandson for me. So and there I got an opportunity to meet a couple of schools in Aurora, just in suburb in Chicago. And I was surprised, not surprised, I was pleasantly surprised to see the millennial behavior or way of life in the West is not at all different from ours in India. Actually, I would even go one step further to say the Indian millennials are probably more tech savvy and more willing to experiment just because they want to get ahead of the race. And so the curiosity levels in adopting technology for betterment of life in just about everything, whether it is Zomato or Swiggy, or you see our ads, the kind of ads that you get to see in Indian are all addressed to the Indian millennials. You don't get to see similar stuff in the United States. So I think the whole marketing, the economy, the corporate world, the government, everybody is swinging towards aligning with themselves with the millennial needs of the society. And we are a very young nation. 2023, we will be having 67% of our workforce as millennials. So that's a dramatic shift that I see. And I think we are India is well poised there. I mean, a surprise to me is America was not ahead for the first time in my life with regard to millennials. That's one part. The second thing which I would like to agree with Mudit and team, the access to information, just the sheer access to information has made them very powerful, much more powerful than what we were. We were chained by the availability of information to limited sources, books, mentors, excellent gurus, university teachers, and our seniors. Today, it's not so. The information can come from anywhere, peers, juniors, and the explosive power of Google and internet. So that itself is making a big difference to them. I won't say call it technology, I would call it access to enormous information. These are two.
Thank you. Thank you, MG, once again. And from people who are listening to us, have just shared, one of the thing is that I totally think it's a problem to align ourselves with millennials. It will be a big problem when they take over. And I would like to just check with the whole panelists, maybe Padma or Sneha, if you'd like to share. But what I want to share here is, how do I learn the difference between curiosity and excitement? So when I say about the curiosity, it's about exploration and expansion of knowledge, awareness. But when it takes over by excitement, I think that's the way the darker side of the millennial comes in. So maybe my invitation to all the millennials, including me, is how do I look at while taking my decisions? How do I look at while looking at things? Am I operating from curiosity scale, and that shifts to getting too excited about things? Because the moment I get excited, or a millennial gets excited, or anybody gets excited, maybe the learning stops there and something else happens. So maybe that's one area that that comes to my mind. But I would still like to check with that when they take over us, okay, what is the big problem when they take over us? What do you see? If MG, you see tomorrow you start working and you are into working. So let's say you go for consulting and you have somebody who was CEO, just young CEO of 35 of a very big company, and you have to work with that person, or there is a team of people who are supposed to report to it, which are absolutely in Gen X or previous than that, maybe. So what is your thought about it? MG and Padma and Sneha, I would like to hear your thoughts. Yeah.
Padma, you go first, or?
MG, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. To be honest with you, I think that curiosity, excitement, border line which you are talking about, I would think they are not going to be that quickly excited. Let me tell you this. That's my view. Although it may look to you as if they are impatient for results, but what I see is that the millennials are a lot less chained or aligned with ideologies or groups or thoughts and things. They're a lot more open and ready to accept diversity. In our generation, because of lack of access to information, we got influenced a lot, aligned and lot committed to certain ways of thinking. I think this bunch of people, because of the explosion of information and access, they are a lot less aligned and therefore a lot less excitable when it comes to serious decision making. They are not going to be just run over by the bus. I can tell. That's my feeling.
Okay, so I do agree with what MG said, that yes, they are more curious than excited. But I also believe that there's a very thin line and they can get excited very easily because, as he said, they're impatient and they receive everything on the tip of their fingers. So yes, they have higher chances of getting excited than the previous generations.
Thank you, Sneha. Once again, before we could move to Padma, I would also like to ask, as I'm hearing a lot of interesting learnings coming up from the rest of the group who is listening to us. the bigger question that I have is one of the millennials asked me, and I want to ask everybody out here who are listening to me and as well as the panelists is, does wisdom come by age or come by awareness? And that's a question that I'm struggling with today. And I would like to hear your views, people. What do you think about it? So, Padma, would you like to go quickly to the previous question about what we've been discussing, the context with Sneha and MJ?
Yeah, I just wanted to add with what MJ and Sneha said. It's about the curiosity and the excitement, where I feel each generation as it goes on, it's the technology, it's the knowledge that has been there. So when it comes like, we didn't have in the generation to question because we didn't know where to ask. What are the questions that to ask? How do I explore? Whereas this current generation, with the information flooded that is there, they know how to maneuver. So it becomes a way of life is to question before accepting the way things are. So that's why they are vocal about things. Like when we say something like, I have millennial kids. So it's not very easy to tell them that you have to do this. They question me, why? Why do you want me to do this? Tell me a reason. So if I say no, it's a belief, it's a culture, they say, what is it? You have to grow up, you have to change. So these are the kind of things that we see, wherein due to the things, they are being more practical, where they challenge us. They make us to think why certain beliefs are being there. And with advancement in technology, a lot of beliefs and systems are being taken over, where there should be an easy adaptation or gelling between the two generations, rather than saying millennials are like that and it's difficult to take over. It's more, it's both have to come together, like to ensure that overall the human mankind grows. So it's an important thing. Amalgamation has to happen between the generations.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm learning from you is about how they could be having a better communication and better understanding, and how knowledge is, how learning has been transferred. Maybe that's the space where whether the awareness comes at any age of the life doesn't make a difference. It's not about with the age or something. I also read some comments from people who are listening to us, is that wisdom has nothing to do with age. It's a combination of conscious experience and its internalization. Komal, thank you so much for bringing that space. And who's on these things, the official thing, any comments on this, because me that you may have person picking it up. For me, mean that there are certain millennials who are so shocked and community comes I way than share with about a new team. So I would also like to ask Ram if he would like to share something about the millennials, because he's there.
Yeah. It's just about 2 points, and also, Indra has some very radical opinions about millennials. I think it might be worthwhile, Magda or someone inviting her to the panel to share. But before that, I just want to make 2 comments. One is, there is a statement, and I don't have too much time for you to guess where it is from. The statement is that the current generation is absolutely useless. They are morons, they are disrespectful, they don't have responsibility, they don't take any accountability. And when they grow up, it's going to be the worst time ever for this world. And you know when this was found? This statement is from what is called the Rosetta Stones in ancient Sumeria, 5,000 years ago, before the age of Hammurabi. So every age since then has repeated exactly the same statement. Because every generation that comes after you, you are scared. Because they are disrespectful. They have to be. And I think the role of those who are from the older generation is to probably groom these people to be rebels and mavericks, because that is where creativity happens. And that's, I just want to leave it. Of course, it really would not resonate with all of you. And if we are coaches, and if we believe we are coaches, then the only way to accept the millennials as they are, allow them to question, and you be in the asking mode, not in the telling mode. When I was starting my career with a multinational company, and I grew up to be a CEO of multiple companies, built a $1 billion company, if the boss said, jump, you never asked why. You said, how high, sir? Today, you tell a millennial to jump, the millennial will go and tell you, go jump yourself, or show me how to jump. And I think that's exactly the right question that needs to be asked. So, yes, we can be angry, we can be whatever, but if we believe that we are coaches, I think we need to be mindful of the fact that our respect begets respect. If we do not respect other people, if we do not treat them as equals, we do not ask and be humble in our inquiry. I just read from one of the biggest companies about how people value leaders. It's a global survey. The highest marked element was humility. And we as leaders, or whoever we are, should ask ourselves, are we humble? And the other is, there is a recent survey, which about a year ago, I was at a conference with a leading consulting company in the world. And the thing that came out after a millennial survey across the world, about 20,000 people, was that while the millennials are all this, they are innovative, creative, seemingly wanting to do things and whatever. There are two things that starkly stood out. One was they were looking constantly for validation. And that is true of every generation. Every younger generation wants validation from their peers as well as from their elders. And the second, which was very, very surprising for me, was in general, contrary to popular experience, and this was a survey amongst a large statistically significant population, was that they are risk averse. They are far more risk averse than what my generation, the baby boomer generation, was in comparison. So the advice to, this was a coaching conference, the advice to the coaches was, please be mindful of these as limiting beliefs of millennials. And so when we are working with millennials, keep them at the back of your mind. This may be an issue that is coming up. So I'll just stop here. Indra has again said, I know the repetition about the statement, people don't need to be respectful. Yeah, I think it is good to have a viewpoint when everybody is praising the millennials, have someone on the panel who is disagreeing with you and hear her out or him out.
Thank you, Ram, once again. So my next thought was about how, my question to Sneha and Mudit here is, you being a millennial, how have you learned about the psychological needs of the millennials?
So I believe millennials today are not struggling for basic amenities as Gen Xers were. So now what they're seeking is more passion-driven, more purpose-driven. They're seeking more of meaning. So even if you see in their career, even if you see in their job. So when they're looking at job, they're looking at it as a calling rather than as a job or career. So that is one thing. And be it whatever work, they want to have a deeper meaning to it. They're questioning a lot of things. So that would be one point. And another thing would be right now they have a lot of options, a lot of things are available to them. So they're also seeking clarity because of this indecisiveness in them. So they want to make sense of these various options that they have. So another need would be clarity. That would be a major need in millennials.
Thanks.
I think Sneha addressed a lot of points and she summarized really well. I think another one that I can add there is millennials also seek the need to be heard and understood. So a lot of when they are going through a particular challenge, and perhaps somebody who's older to them is not able to understand why they're going through a particular challenge, an approach that really works with them rather than direct mentoring and advice is coaching, because coaching helps them be heard and helps them guide their way forward. So I think that is one psychological need that millennials have, the need to be heard and understood.
Okay, thanks, Mudit. So Shalaka, you put your hands up. Yeah, would you like to share quickly?
Yeah, I think Sneha and Mudit have really put their point very clearly forward. During even my interactions with the millennials, the basic need that I have come to understand is the need to be heard. And as a coach, the thing for a coach to be mindful about is how can we be a good sounding board for them? Because that's the quality that they are looking for, a sounding board, and not just a sounding board for a limited period of time, but giving them enough space while being a sounding board to come up with different options, different ways to look at the challenge that they're dealing with, and then operating from the space of choice rather than telling them directly. So they want to be heard, they want the coaches, the mentors to be their sounding boards, and that's at the root of everything. Everything else builds upon that need. Being a good listener to them is very crucial.
Thanks once again, Shalaka. Yes, but not quickly.
I just wanted to add on to what everyone said, like, since I have a millennial kids. So one of the things that I see in this generation is due to technological advance, like they need reassurance, like it's a peer pressure is very high, where the number of likes and all these things that is there, they feel that they are more, they depend on this peer pressure and they get carried away with that rather than they want the external reassurance somewhere. Internalization has to be done that no, I am smart, I can do it. Whereas they look for the how many likes is there, whether it is Insta, whether it is your Facebook, or whether it is your chat, whatever is there, that's what is there, how popular I am. Rather than somewhere I feel that superficialness is little there. So that needs to be, the parents have to address that. Like they get very, they keep checking their accounts. If anything is uploaded, how many likes are there? So this is what which I felt was one of the things that is there in this generation.
Thanks, Padma, for bringing that. What I had something else to look at from a different perspective is maybe it's not, again, the forum is about not blaming anybody. It's also millennials have formed with certain way of life. For parents have been busy, technology has been their best friend. So people got engaged and that's the way they married. To keep themselves engaged with their life. And today when I see them engage, it's just my perception which is coming out, okay, they are not with me, but they are with themselves. Okay. And one of the psychological need I have, I mean, many of them I have experienced in my private practice as a coach was this lack of self-esteem and self-care, because it's so much about validation from the external environment. That's one experience that I had been having multiple levels, be it from the age of 18 to 24, from 32. So it's all about, am I good enough? And the whole process comes again is the parenting. So my bigger question to everybody out here who are non-millennials is, what is the ego state from a transaction analysis perspective? What is the ego state that is being shown that makes the millennial today be different? Or maybe when I say they are lazy, they are not good enough. So what exactly is being experienced by them? So maybe if my boss is very highly proactive and go-getter, so maybe do I get that message of motivation to go with, or it just stifles my expression? So I'm struggling a lot to understand what's the ego state the bosses or the people are taking it up, which is finding difficult to deal with millennials. Parallelly, there's no something like a sympathy to millennials, but my learning is that's the way they have made meaning to their life, and can I accept that? If they have, when Padma says that the likes and dislikes of the Facebook and the Instagram is very high, but that's the way that excites them. That's the way that makes them happy. Okay, maybe that's the coping strategy. Maybe it can change through coaching. And so my question to MG here is, MG, what do you see the difference in your generation when I talk about generation, it's just the generation from the age group's perspective. How has been coping different in your generation?
Okay, first of all, in my generation, there was no helicopter parenting. You know, today, while the parents have become economically much better off than our parents were, and they're also well informed. They know how to deal with millennials. They also have the same access to explosive information. They are also technically savvy. So they get to read a lot. They get to interchange with other peer parents and understand how to cope with millennials. Most of the parents are very forward in their approach, in the sense that give a lot of room and space for the children because they don't want to be trespassing on them. But in real life scenario, this gives a secure, a nice feeling for the millennial children. The parents are always there. They give them a lot of room. They give them room to experiment, explore, make mistakes, fail, and they are always there to stand by. Real world, corporate world, nobody is there to stand by you when you fail. And your manager is, whether millennial or not millennial, he's not interested in you. He's interested in the customer and the end result. He doesn't give a damn about giving you space or not giving you space. He'll give you space if it meets his end objectives of succeeding, not as a cultural habit. Whereas your parent was giving you space, elbow room, giving you opportunities, allowing you to decide because they wanted to groom you like that. The bosses are not interested in grooming you so much. They want results. Grooming comes a little later. So when the same millennials land up in such a let's say different corporate world atmosphere, their ability to cope with the stresses which are coming in, I have a bit of a problem. I have a doubt whether they are learning fast enough. They get shocked by that. So many of them do learn, no doubt about it. But there is a significant change that needs to happen to them because of helicopter parenting in their stress coping capability in workplace. That's the point.
Thanks, MG, once again. So, so we've been listening to different perspectives about millennials from the audience as well as from everybody out here. So my question to everybody out here is, after listening to so many things and sharing different spaces of yours, what are your own strategies to deal with, I would not say the word millennials, I would say the word the change, the evolved generation, okay? Because the first question that I asked was questioned to me by one of the millennials is, am I a category? And I felt that it's time to just resonate with, is it a new generation, a new change, or again, how are we open about it? So my question to everybody out here is, and people who are listening, is what do you think is your own mantra or your own strategy to deal with millennials?
Okay. So one strategy that I would like to share would be the coach operating from a choice space rather than a direction space. I would say millennials like their own freedom and they like to come at their own answers. So, and they're independent as well. So rather than giving them direction, a coach can explore that space with them and let them come to their own answers, their own derivations. And when they come up with their own answers, their action plans, their goals, they're more likely to commit. As we know, people commit more to the things that come from within rather than from an external source. So that would also help with the commitment issues that millennials have.
Thank you, Sneha. How about the rest?
I think one perspective that I've noticed is millennials do not focus too much on their weakness or what they're not good at, but rather focus on what they are good at and their strengths. So once they figured out what they're good at, what they like to do, they want to focus on that and build a direction around that, rather than beating around the bush around where they need to improve. So more from a strength perspective rather than from an opportunity to improve perspective.
So, so Mudit, what I'm learning from you is that rather than what is not good in me, is what is good in me. Let's explore that. Let's bring that out. And I know my weakness, so you don't need to tell me that. I'm going to do it whatever best I can. So treat me with care, respect, as well as look at my strengths.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mudi. That's very, very insightful. And how about anybody else? Shalaka, yes.
Yeah. So for me, there are a couple of things which I remain mindful about when interacting with millennials as a coach. The first thing, as both Sneha and Mudit have rightly put it, it is coaching interaction which is aimed towards channelizing their strengths rather than weaknesses. And we have all already discussed that it's coming from the space where they were appreciated, they value appreciation, recognition a lot more, and they get motivated much more easily when they get that appreciation. So rather than focusing on the weakness, focusing on their strengths. Then another important point is not seeing the millennials as millennials. That's very important, and keeping a fresh mindset. By fresh mindset, I mean being open as a coach to be challenged by the millennials, and also being ready to challenge the millennials during the interactions. So this is a mindset which needs to be, one has to keep while coaching the millennials. So these are the two, and listening, of course. Listening is one of the foundational skills which we as coaches need to be very focused on, how we can integrate the sounding board aspect to our listening skills, and how we can be much more better listeners to this generation. So better listeners, channelizing their strengths, and keeping a very fresh and open mindset, and being open to getting challenged. That's very crucial while coaching the millennials.
Thanks, Shalaka, once again. And I also hear from many people talking about very interesting insights. One of them is, I really loved it, was just give them their space and listen to their viewpoints. And that is, it's Venkat who has written this. And just let them give them space and listen to their viewpoints, and where necessary, show them more options, challenge them on their thought process, and have they thought through all possibilities, success and failure. So giving them a view of the 6 thinking hats, and various hats can move around while discussing. Yes. So Malay, you've been very quiet. I would love to hear you as well. What is your strategy?
Yeah, thanks. I was raising my hand, but probably it was not visible.
Okay.
So, I have a couple of thoughts. I think a lot of things has been shared. One of my belief in strategy generally is not to look at millennial as millennial, but treat them equally. And when I say equally, it's basically the same fairness. Be curious with millennial. Try to see their awareness level. Pair them up with options as well. And what I felt always that if you don't treat them as different, they feel inclusive, and not term them as millennial and you're different, things like that, right? So being aware, being fair to the millennials. One of the things which generally is changed is how we have been giving them the awareness, right? So when we say that we don't want to be judgmental, they latch onto it, and if every time you try to judge them, they'll say, hey, don't judge me, right? I mean, so that's kind of a awareness they're getting. So one of the questions which was earlier asked, whether the wisdom comes from experience and awareness, and I just want to connect this dot, that a lot of these wisdom is coming from awareness, and awareness obviously comes from what you see and what you believe. So a lot of millennials, they believe they know a lot of things, but since they are not been exposed to different situations and conditions, they may not be aware of those things, and that wisdom is not with them. But if they are properly exposed and they are aware, then they can be more intelligent and has more wisdom than a person in my age group can be. So I treat them as equal. I respect them equally in my team, and same as with my kids. So that's my strategy, to treat them equally and not treat them differently.
Thank you. Thank you once again. So, so maybe a last word from Padma, then I'd probably like to move on to the next part, the last part of our discussion.
I guess most of the panelists have covered most of the strategies that generally we like to share about, wherein having good listening skills and being non-judgmental, which is the most important thing. Like the millennials, due to technology, we spoke about due to technology, they are aware of a lot of things. But when it comes to reassurance, is what the awareness space that they want. That's where the coaching comes in, and that's where we need to be having good listeners and give them that space and make them revalidation of what is there is what they are looking at. So if we give them the space, they will turn out to be beautiful citizens of future world.
Thank you. Thank you, Padma. MG, anything from your end quickly?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I do believe that a millennial sits in front of you as a coachee, and he or she is quite aware that as a millennial, she's probably talking to a non-millennial. Whereas on the contrary, as a coach, I find it a lot easier to talk to them if I remove my awareness that he or she is a millennial. If you don't stereotype them as a millennial when they sit in front of you and just treat them as just another person, it becomes that much more easy. I think perhaps that's what Malay was talking about when he said we should treat them equally. What I do think is we should not stereotype them as a millennial coachee sitting in front of you for a coaching session. I found that is a little difficult, but worth practicing as a coach.
Thank you. Thank you once again, MG. Maybe yes, Malay, quickly. Yeah.
Just one last thought. You know, when I speak to millennials, they say, don't be millennial with me. You know, we are what we are. You be what you are. So don't try to be me. And that's what exactly, you know, MG point is that just be what you are, and they'll be what they are, and they'll respect for what you bringing value to the table. And you cannot earn, or you have to earn the respect and not ask for it. And that's what, you know, finally it comes down to.
Thank you, Malay, once again. And what comes to me is the Carl Rogers, and then from Ram Nathan, my mentor. What I learned from him is unconditional positive regard. Be it any generation, things can be worked with any generation. So for me, I look at millennial as a hope. I look at as an evolved generation as well. Yes, I'm aware about the shadows, but every generation comes with the shadows, and shadows are a part of you. So let's see how we grow all together with new millennials. People who have really been with us, patiently listening, sharing their perspective. I thank you so much out here to share your perspective. And absolutely, I respect each and every learning that you had. It's coming from your own experience, and that is authentic to you. So thank you so much. I would request Magda, if you would like to come back again and share your thoughts. And as well as Ram, if I could have a final thought from your end as well, it would be great.
Yeah, just to add, Paras, it was great, the panel as well as the audience interaction. I just would like to leave one thing. My own children are still in the millennial stage, and many of the people that I coach are today and train are millennials. I think for those of you out there, coaches, start remembering that soon many of your clients will be millennials, unless you respect them, unless you are able to equate with them, unless you are able to see their point of view, and as far as said, unconditional positive regard, you may not have clients. So I think it is for each generation to start understanding what their own deficiencies are, rather than trying to look at what the deficiencies of the others are. And especially in a coaching space, it doesn't work. The coaching space is the Carl Rogerian unconditional positive regard and Otto Scharmer's generative visioning. I'll just close with that. I think many of you are resonating. Some of you may have issues. That's why I said in the chat, how as a coach can we remain unbiased and can we remain non-judgmental? If you're not able to do that, I don't think we really would fit into the coach's chair. Simple. It's as simple as that. Magda, would you like to close?
Sure. I'll add in my 2 cents only because Paras asked me. I think I'm a millennial. a senior millennial. And I think that as a generation, we're amazing and we also suck. But what's really great about this generation, I think it's a generation that's open to feedback and open to change. And that's what makes, I think, coaching millennials so exciting, because they actually seek out coaching. They are receptive to coaching. So all of you on this webinar today, I hope that you learned something, but I think you also can appreciate that this generation has a lot of potential to be your clients. Not just because as we age, we're going to need it, but because we're more receptive to working with coaches, which I think is going to make the whole world a better place, because if we can all seek advice and seek to be better people and challenge ourselves, then we can only improve. So that's my 2 cents. But administratively speaking, I just put in the chat, and I'll do it again, we have a new process for claiming CCEUs. Why? Because as millennials, we can use technology to the benefit of everybody. And let's hope it works. So I will put up this little URL on the screen, but, or not. But if you head over to Coacharya.thinkific.com, you will see our brand new portal that's still in development, but you will see today's webinar on that page when you get there, and just follow the instructions there to first register and then to answer the question you're prompted with. The answer is pretty orchid. It's in the comments as well. It's going to be emailed to you, but please go through this new process and email me if you have any problems. As a millennial, I'm open to feedback and happy to improve it if it doesn't work. So that's that for us for today. I hope to see you at the next webinar, which is next week for all of our learners. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you,
once again.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.